clearly I like Halloween. Panther people, what up? Let's talk about the Panthers losing in overtime against Atlanta and why you shouldn't be that bummed. Watch Panthers post to Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. Well, Panthers lose 37-34. Their first divisional loss so far this year. They are now 2-6. Not atop the NFC South, but hey, it's only week 8. It could have gone either way. It's a coin flip. I thought the Panthers were going to lose this game. I thought they're going to split this series. I'm pretty sure when they go back to Charlotte later on the year, where they are wearing the black helmets, I think the Panthers will beat the Falcons. But I thought, you know, the goodwill that was going towards this team was a little bit too much for my liking, especially who they beat the week before in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are complete disarray right now. But I felt that it was going to be a hard-fought game. It's going to go to the very last second, and I'm pretty sure I predicted they're going to lose by 3, and that's exactly what this was. I believe the lead changed 10 times, or they exchanged scores 10 different times in this game at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. And the Carolina Panthers team, offense, defense, special teams, everybody stepped up. Great to see DJ Moore come alive. Like, he is awake. He's awoken. Who knew it took, you know, a fourth-string quarterback, because he would have been the fourth-string quarterback, in PJ Walker to elicit this type of excitement out of that wide receiver. Literally elicited excitement that eventually bit the Panthers in the ass. But he was just like playing with like a man possessed. Let's take a look at the stats. DJ Moore, 152 yards receiving. Longest was that 62-yard Hail Mary. Laviska Shenault also, welcome to the party, 26 yards, 5 catches. But it was just great to see DJ Moore just being a factor. Maybe that's what I mean. They just look like an NFL team. They can catch, they can throw, they can run, they can block, like, you know, normal things that literally Panther fans were not getting for the last couple of years. As a whole picture, I know DJ Moore was great last couple of years. It didn't matter who the quarterback was, but it's just nice to see it all together. But obviously, he got too excited. Now, whether that was an excitement from getting a Hail Mary touchdown reception, which very rarely happens, and that kind of result and response to that is normally what would happen. You take off your helmet, you jump in the stands, that's great. Or maybe there's just, letting off some frustration because the amount of people who probably wrote off DJ Moore, including yours truly, saying that he's a trade piece, you could let him go, you could replace him. I mean, they went up against a guy like Drake London today, who's a rookie and doing just fine. You just take a look at the rest of the league. There's a lot of rookie wide receivers doing just fine. And including guys like me saying, yeah, you can let DJ Moore go, and kind of writing him off, and not in a bad way, but just saying, let him go, try to get a ring. He's not going to happen here, and you could replace him with a rookie. That's kind of the way it was. And also just being stuck on a team that isn't succeeding, and he hears that noise, that he's kind of, I'm sure he's hearing things like, you're not going to win anything in Charlotte, blah, 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 but here he is, showing that he's still around, showing that he's still a great wide receiver, takes the helmet off, frustration, happiness, I don't know, but he did it. And cost the Panthers a couple yards on the point after, and Eddie Dinero Pinero just wasn't money today, twice in a row, and a chance to literally win the game for the Panthers, put them first overall in the NFC South. Didn't happen. It's execution on individual basis. Like Eddie Pinero has been money all year when he has been in replacement right now for the starter, and so you would think he can connect on a 43-yard extra point. Didn't happen. You'd think he would connect on less than 40-yard game-winning overtime kick. Didn't happen. Blame DJ all you want, but, Pinero's been money from beyond that anyway. So it's just a freak luck thing. I hope he doesn't look like the bad guy, in the media tomorrow or today. Like, I haven't really looked at it, but, he did what he did. He put them in that position to win. They would have just lost in overtime if it wasn't for his concentration and speed and reaction to PJ doing what he was doing, which leads me to PJ Walker, who is giving this team life, both on the field and in the locker room. You can sense that they love him, they respect him, and they let him cook today. They let him just air that shit out. Mind you, they had to. It was a back-and-forth game with a lot on the line in Week 8, but he stepped up to the plate. He did have that PJ pick, which I did say was going to happen last week. Didn't expect it to be a pick 6, but these are the kind of things he does. I'm not saying that if you had a rookie in there like Matt Corral or Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Hendon Hooker, that wouldn't happen. But he's been in the league for a good amount of years. You don't want to see him do that kind of stuff, but it's kind of been known that he has that in him, like every week. Last week was weird. He played great. He also played great in this one as well. Take a look at the stats. 317 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, which was that pick six. Yeah, you could say you could take that away and the Panthers win this game, but we know that that's who he is. And which is why what I'm going to try to say is you can stick with him. There's no reason why you should bench him next week heading into Cincinnati and put in Baker Mayfield. I don't care if they're AFC North rivals in the past, but you kind of have to still ride with a hot hand. That is PJ Walker. He gives you the chance to win. We literally saw that today. They could have won today on multiple occasions. But I could see next year that he is retained. Probably gets a bit of a pay bump. He's making less than $1 million now. Maybe pay him $3 million or something like that. $5 million. 3-year contract, 2-year contract, plus an option. And he could be that bridge. You could literally redo what the Panthers had an opportunity to do with Teddy Bridgewater and have him be that bridge quarterback. And you got Matt Corral there already, who's added insurance. And then depending on where these guys draft, and we talk about this 2023 QB draft being pretty deep, whether you're picking top 5, top 10, top 15, you have a chance to get Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Hendon Hooker, Anthony Richardson, who might not come into this draft. He definitely needs a year to cook a little bit. But you got those 3 guys. Even Will Levis, who had a bad game this weekend against Tennessee in the Hendon Hooker Will Levis Bowl, did not play great. He still has the traits that he can learn from. He could start as a third-string quarterback. Shout out to a couple of players that really stood out to me. Dante Jackson, who I predict is going to get traded by Tuesday, November 1st, in the trade deadline. He looked a little banged up on this. I'm not checking Twitter right now. But if he is banged up, I don't see him being a trade target. But again, he had his second interception this year. Wasn't a pick six, but it was a nice one. So I think his value went up as long as he stays healthy. I still think you can get rid of him. And you see in this DB room, guys like CJ Henderson, who had that nice interception late in the fourth quarter, or was early in overtime. Nice return for him. Very calm and casual there. I think you got enough talent in a defensive backfield with J.C. Horn if he stays healthy. Keith Taylor, C.J. Henderson, Xavier Woods, all these guys. I think you can let someone like Dante go. But still, got to give him his flowers. I thought he played really well. Shout out to Terrace Marshall Jr. 87 yards receiving. He had a great yards after the catch. Uses his big body. He literally pushed Shi Smith aside, kind of saying, hey, I don't know why you're the second wide receiver in this depth chart. It should be me. It will be Terrace Marshall Jr. Maybe not this year, but next year. But I think Terrace Marshall is that big body receiver who's fast, freak in nature that this Panthers offense has been lacking since they drafted him. But for whatever reason, I don't know what it was with Matt Rule. Just even though he said all he needs to do is get some tries, well, it's up to the head coach to give him these opportunities. But I don't find it a weird. It might be a coincidence. Rule's out of the building, and Terrace Marshall is getting better every single week, getting more looks every single week, almost 100 yards receiving, almost a touchdown this week. Speaking of Shi Smith, he was a lot better on kickoff returns. Some positive yardage there, toughness, not letting go of the ball. That's great. Obviously, the big shout out to D'Onta Foreman, over 100 yards rushing. Again, 3 touchdowns. The last time a Carolina Panthers had 3 touchdowns in a game was Jonathan Stewart, not Christian McCaffrey. Skipped a generation, Jonathan Stewart. And D'Onta Foreman's making less than $2 million, everybody. Christian McCaffrey's making $12 million for the next 3 years. This is why they let him go, because you got a guy like D'Onta Foreman. Didn't even have Chuba Hubbard because he's hurt with the ankle injury. But you got him, Blackshear, and Spencer Brown. Boom. That's all you need. That's all you need. Unfortunately, that's the state of the running back position right now. You get a bunch of guys, you pay them $2 million or less, and they can do that kind of damage. And just imagine tackling D'Onta Foreman late in the fourth into overtime. It must suck. I don't know what Jonathan Vilma was talking about when Steve Wilks said that D'Onta Foreman reminds him of Derrick Henry, and Jonathan Vilma didn't believe him. Dude, did you not watch last year? He literally backed up Derrick Henry and did a very good job. Literally, I would be watching a game and be like, oh, Derrick Henry's back from injury. No, that's D'Onta Foreman. So I don't know what Jonathan Vilma's smoking, but he's a great running back. He's a great bell cow. And you saw today that, you could ride him all day long. And it's almost like he's had an extended preseason because dude didn't really start getting the rock until they traded Christian McCaffrey away last week. So he's literally starting a season in week 7 with 11 to go, including the bye. And this guy's going to be fresh. He's fresh legs right now. Steve Wilks. I thought Steve Wilks, as I said before, is getting something out of this team that Matt Rule did not. Joe Person from The Athletic wrote that, everyone on this team wants to win for Steve Wilks. They know his story about, being a Charlotte guy, having a head coaching opportunity, which he was a lame duck coach right from the get-go with the Arizona Cardinals. and they want to give him that win. They want to give him a win. They want to win him the full-time job for this team. I could see that happening if they keep playing like they're doing, even if they lose out, but they're playing well and they're progressing and they're in every single game and they lose every game by 3 points or less. I could see Steve Wilks getting this job. But if they're not winning, but they're playing well, I could totally see guys like Ben McAdoo getting tossed. He's on pace to have a real shot at being the head coach of this team. And if he doesn't get it, then the players could just really look at themselves like, hey, it was our bad. Like, we played better, but we still didn't win enough. And if he loses out, in my opinion, if he loses out, which I don't see happening, I still see them beating like the Pittsburghs and the Lions out there. But he's trending in the right direction to get a really serious contention, really serious look to be the full-time head coach of this team. So right now the Panthers are still picking third behind Detroit and Houston. A bunch of teams are 2-6, including Jacksonville, not looking for a quarterback. Pittsburgh, not looking for a quarterback. Carolina, they are. Houston, a lot of mock drafts I'm seeing. I'm seeing them taking Will Anderson out of Alabama because Lovie Smith is a defensive guy, as I'm seeing right now in Tankathon. C.J. Stroud to the Lions, Will Anderson to the Texans, and then you got Bryce Young to the Carolina Panthers. I could totally see Hendon Hooker falling as well. Do they even have him on this? They do. They have him going to Seattle, who's not in need of a quarterback right now, but maybe they think that the fairy dust is going to finally, at one point, maybe next year, fall off Geno Smith. They're going to need a backup, and that could be Hendon Hooker. That'd be pretty amazing. FYI, I wanted to just tweet something out there with like a Carolina Panthers jersey, try to customize it, number 5, Hooker, to see, just kind of put a tweet out there, be like, Carolina's next quarterback. But due to the nature of his last name and how it's spelt, you can't customize a jersey with a last name Hooker. So they got Cincinnati next week. That's going to be a tough game. They don't play each other a bunch, so not that familiar with each other. But yeah, no Jamar Chase is helpful in that sense. J.C. Horn back from injury. You're a bit rusty today, just a little bit rusty in terms of tackling and all that. The ribs being hurt, it'd be tough to tackle. But anyways, let me know how you feel about this team. Are you happy? You sad? Indifferent? You can't be indifferent because that was exciting, so don't give me that. Let me know how you feel. Comments below. Like, subscribe, share.